terrarium. Some of them would, like ball pythons, would need 40 gallons if they get bigger. So if 7 ends up being a female, she'll need a bigger cage when she's older because they can fill out quite a bit and get pretty long. And Red here lives in the 40-gallon front opening, which is a pretty good size for an adult corn snake. And he actually does climb. He's very active. He's got vines and different branches in his cage, and so he's always like out and about and crawling around. Needs a lot of space. The common thing that you would see in corn snakes would be mites and fungal infection. Internal parasites, if they do get out, because they are escape artists, most of the time young ones will escape and get into like the walls of your house or into your sump pumps, and not very often do you find them alive again, unfortunately, because the pet stores sell like little tiny baby corn snakes like this that people buy because they're also cute and super docile and like wrap around your wrist like a bracelet. But they get for sure this big, mostly bigger. So you just have to be aware of what you're buying. That's the main problem when people buy a snake. And a lot of, like, you might not see a lot of corn snakes come in because people will buy them and not think that snakes need regular vet care. They should have a fecal done yearly. For sure, if they ever get out, they should have a vet look at them. Yeah. Any other questions? They come in a wide variety of colors, by the way, all snakes do. So, yeah.
So you're talking about frozen nod?
Yes.
So how do you, if they only eat live, how do you transition them? How does that work?
You have to be more, I guess, active when you go to feed them. So with these guys, I can just hold the frozen thawed mouse and they'll take it right away. With ones that we're converting, you'll have to wiggle it around a little bit more, sometimes cut it open to make it have blood. Sometimes you'll have to dunk it in chicken broth to add a little bit of flavor for them. And then it's just kind of persistence. So a lot of times it'll take 3-4 feedings of them not eating before they'll eat the frozen thawed. There's several reasons I don't feed live and I don't recommend feeding live. Some snakes just won't eat anything but live, and snakes have to eat, so then you have to do live. But the main thing is you don't want to leave a live rodent in with the snake unsupervised, because you think, oh, the snake's gonna kill it or not notice or not like get hurt by it. But especially rats and bigger snakes can do a lot of damage in a short amount of time to your snake. I've seen a lot of videos and pictures of snakes that have gotten really chewed up to the point where they have massive scarring on their bodies from the rats, and even mice. And then a mouse and a rat bite on a snake can get infected really quickly too. So it's just not, it's not good to leave them in there unsupervised. And even supervised, sometimes you can't move fast enough if this rat bites the snake. So that's why I don't feed live. Plus I couldn't do it. I keep mammals too as pets, and I just can't put something, I'd name it, it'd be bad. So, yeah. Any other questions about Red, or Seven, or Snarf, or any of the other snakes I have at home? Yes.
So do you think snakes like to be held at all?
Snakes, with any reptile, they aren't going to be like a cat or a dog. I do think that some reptiles like attention. So Red, for instance, here, anytime I come into the pet room, he is instantly up on the glass. And it's not always on feeding day, because that's basically what snakes will see you as. You're the person who feeds them. But it's not always on feeding day, and so I'll open up, he'll crawl right out and just wrap around me like this. So I feel like he does want attention. There's a lot of arguments by multiple people that'll say they're a snake, they don't want attention, they're not like a dog and a cat. I think my bearded dragon knows his name, so I would say yes. It all depends on the snake too. Any other questions? All right, so before I take out anybody else or bring the mammals, you guys are welcome to come up here and hold Red. I can try taking out Seven and Snarf if it's okay with Lisa. So if you want to come up here, because then once I take out the mammals, they're kind of going to be done for today. Like you guys can take pictures of them later in their carriers, but I'm not going to take them out once I start holding them.
Although we do only have until about 1:50.
Oh, okay.
So we'll need to watch our
yeah, you just let me
time
know.
too.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can come up.
So go quick, guys.
Yeah.
Can I have a look at the snake?
Yeah. You just got to support the body. always talk too much and then I bring too many things, but I'll try to go through everybody else a little quicker, so. Should probably have had this out beforehand, but if you have like anything on your hands you think you might not like, there's the hand sanitizer, so. Yeah, I can try to check that out and then move on to the other guys.
They're so cool. So how did you afford it?
So I usually, I'm using my pet sitting money to see everybody, especially because I'm a stay-at-home mom now. So I usually use my pet sitting money and then, I'll usually pick up like cheap pet supplies and then sell them. Yeah. I rarely get donations because I am an independent, I'm not a 501c3. So I don't have, that to get donations really. It's all independent. He is having some shedding issues. He shed last week. So, yeah. So the one I had, the eye was doing pretty good. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. You're doing good. Can you go back in? Yeah, he's wrapped around like a little bracelet. That's one thing that these guys do. When I first got him, he wrapped around my ponytail. That was pretty interesting. Back in there.
Do you see people giving up snakes for like adoption when they start getting bigger, or when they have health issues? Like when you
It's
see them
usually when they get bigger and then when they realize how much money it is to feed them. So my snakes all eat once a week. Baby snakes will sometimes eat twice a week. And then the bigger ball pythons and the other bigger boas and pythons sometimes eat every couple weeks. But it's still quite a bit to feed them because depending on where you get your rodents from. So for instance, Petco, a small rat's $6. The mall pet store, usually you're paying like $3, but that's still, a week. And if you order in bulk online, it's usually the best way to go, but it's still gonna be about $1 a meal. And that's for the smaller ones. So for the big snake that I have at home, she ate 2 rats for me the other day, and I bought them at the mall pet store, which was cheaper, but it was still $5 a rat. That would be about $15 from like Petco or PetSmart a rat. So yeah, she eats a lot, and she's gonna be a little bit more expensive to feed. Huh?
Did you say you buy them live?
No,
Oh.
they're frozen.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do the clothes next here. Just because they're on top, we'll do them next. So, that's everybody. Okay, so these are the exotic mammals I brought with me, and I'll try to talk a little bit faster. So I used to have a lot more exotic mammals, and now I have less. It's the first presentation for these guys here. Sadly, my very good presentation Daegu chaplain passed away this year of old age. So now I have these new boys, which are a little bit jumpier. So they might have to stay in there, but I'll try to take them out. So these are Daegus, which are giant gerbils. And they are not readily found in pet stores. They do come from different breeders. These guys are actually from a breeder in Kansas City. And these guys are pretty young still. They're about probably about 5 months and 6 months old. So they'll get a little bit bigger and bulkier, like a small guinea pig size. And their main issue is they get a lot of teeth dental problems depending on their background. I actually had to put down a female last year that had dental disease. And they do need friends, so they bond for life. And so Chaplin actually was going to be with Lorax here, this tan one, and then he passed away, so I had to get Brownie. And they need a lot of exercise room. Yes,
What did you say those were?
Degus. So
Degus?
D-E-G-U. Yep. So they're giant gerbils, essentially, is what they are. And I'll try to take them out. But and they take dust baths just like a chinchilla. They're gonna come out. We'll take Brownie
Like
out.
that.
Alright, so Brownie's probably gonna be a better option to take out here.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and he actually has a stub tail, which is healing. He on the drive up, the breeder from Kansas City, he actually self-mutilated his tail because he didn't have anyone with him, and he was being hauled with a bunch of reptiles. So sadly, he has a little tiny stub tail, and it won't grow back. But it doesn't seem to affect him too much. So, yeah. Any questions on Degus? Going a little bit faster through these, but.
Are they expensive since like?
It depends on their coloration. So, Brownie here was 20 and Lorax was 35. But I do have some high white pieds at home, which were 100 a piece. And it all depends on where you get them from too. So they were from a breeder in Chicago. Yeah.
What's their diet look like?
Their diet is a lot of seeds. They need a lot of different hays, oat grass and oats. You don't want any fruit in their diet. They can have a little bit of fresh veggies, but not a lot. Fruit will cause them to be actually diabetic. So, yeah. So very similar to like a chinchilla's diet would be. Yeah. Any other questions about them? Alright. And then next here we have my hedgehogs. So I have 4 hedgehogs right now. I brought 2 of them with just to show you kind of one of their common ailments. So this is Maddie. She came from a breeder that I know down in South Dakota. She's a retired breeder. So she's about 5 years old, so she won't go anywhere just because she is old. Hedgehogs usually only live about 4 to 6 years old. So she'll live out her days with me. I'm not sure how many babies she had, but she had a little bit of ripped ear going on, which is caused either by allergies or not enough humidity in their cages. And so it won't grow back, unfortunately. It's just tattered ear. It's a common ailment for them. Another common ailment for these guys is cancers. They're very prone to cancer. I've had lots over the years pass away from cancer on me. Mites, if they're not kept in proper conditions. With hedgehogs, if you ever see quill loss after about 6 months that's in a large quantity, it's probably mites. They do shed a quill here and there randomly, but not a ton. So if there's any like patches missing, it's probably mites. Yeah. Any questions about hedgehogs? She's super tame. So at the end, if anybody wants to stick around, you can hold her. So yeah, but I want to try to get through everybody first for that. And
Yeah, she's not, definitely not using a defensive posture at all.
No, she is like the sweetest little So she just looks funny because of her ears, but the breeder actually got out of breeding, and so this was her last one, and she's like, I know you love hedgehogs, so do you want Maddie? And I was like, yes. And she never rolls up. My kids can hold her, like, she rocks around with the cats. She's super awesome, which is not normal for a hedgehog. Usually they're kind of cranky little things.
Say, leave it to an older woman to be real composed.
Right? And then I do have a baby, well, he's not really a baby, he's just tiny. So he is about 1.5 years old. This is Gilbert, who I brought last time. He was much smaller last time. And he is just as tame. I got him when he was 9 weeks old. So same thing, same care, same possible issues. But I just want to bring him because he's super tame too.
So do you feed them a pelleted food
Oh,
or
yes. So
insects or?
the hedgehogs eat cat food. I feed a low-fat, high-protein cat food for them. I don't feed any of the hedgehog's food on the market just because a lot of them has corn in it, and these guys can't digest corn. So they get freeze-dried and live insects, and then their cat food, and that's pretty much, they're very simple to feed. You see a lot of hedgehogs in my rescue that come through just because a lot of them are not tame like this. So they're going to be like a little huffy, sometimes bitey ball of quills that you can't really handle. I will say these two are probably they're a couple of the tamest ones I've ever owned, and I've owned about 14 of them. So I got lucky with both of them. But yeah, he's much smaller. I'm not really sure. It's just genetic wise. Plus, she was used for a breeder, so she probably has a lot of baby fat on her, unfortunately. And then this I'm gonna use. Here it is. This is not a hedgehog, and she sometimes doesn't like the smell of hedgehogs. But does anyone know what this is? Okay, so this is a lesser tenrec. This is Belmay. She's been to multiple presentations with me. She's full grown.